Welcome to episode 21 of Translated's Adventure Around the World in the Ocean Globe Race. My name is Paul Cayard. I'm your host. I'm here in Miami this week, sailing my star in the Bacardi Cup. But I'm just so proud of the Translated team and the job they've done to get the boat back on the starting line. It's been about 40 hours since the start. They haven't made much progress because of the light air, but just the fact that they're out there on the starting line is a true testimony that we all believe in humans and what humans can accomplish. So, as usual, take a look at the tracker. I prepared a special segment on a leg overview up to the finish line, and then we'll look at the router to see what the winds they can expect in the next 2 weeks.
Well, they haven't gone very far in the first 40 hours of the race. Obviously, this is Punta del Este. One boat, Outlaw, has already gone into port, or I think it's Outlaw, or maybe it's Explorer. And Translated's out here with their normal grouping of Helsinki and Pendwick. The progress is slow because they're really in light winds, and it's early days. But I think the most important thing here is that Translated is in this picture. A couple weeks ago, we didn't know if they'd be able to do leg 4 due to the damage on leg 3. So a big congratulations to the team for actually having the boat out there and competing again, and I know their hopes are high for a great result here in leg 4. So hats off to Team Translated. I want to give you an overview of the leg just so you can see geographically where they're going. They started down here at the green dot in Punta del Este, Uruguay. Rio de Janeiro is about in here. I have stopped the tracker with the boats here on March 18th at Recife. And you can see the destination is up here, Portsmouth, England. And these are all the routes of the boats that came down leg 1. So another interesting feature here I can show you right now is that this square box with the weather in it is the size of what we call the grid file. So the grid file describes a wind field for really every hour of every day over this swath of the earth. So obviously if we try to make the grid file big enough to go to England, it would be a lot more data and much more unmanageable piece. And also, since it loses its accuracy after about 7 days, there's no point in making grid files any bigger than this. So anyway, Recife is roughly a third of the way to the destination. These are the Azores Islands. My suspicion is they'll have to go to the west of the Azores and come up here under Greenland and get the prevailing westerly winds to come into Portsmouth. They'll get low pressures that are traveling across here and hook into them on their way in. That's typical. So there's the overview of leg 4. It's March 7th, and I have a waypoint up off Recife, Brazil, which is what we call the corner of Brazil, the northeastern point. It's about 1,600 nautical miles northeast of their location. And as we see here, about 40 hours into the race, or into the leg, the group is still pretty tightly bunched. Translated, Pendwick and Helsinki are pushing east, trying to deal with this high pressure bubble here. And the high pressure and the headwinds on the coast are what's making progress very slow for the whole group. So these little zigzaggy lines up here are the suggested routes depending on any of the 6 different models I'm running. Even though there's 6 different models, they're all fairly close, as you can see, and generally the concept is the same. They're tacking here because they're getting the northeasterly winds around this high pressure bubble, and therefore they're going upwind. But as we can see here, their track straightens out because they will be getting more easterly winds, more favorable winds, which will allow them to fetch and run up the coast. So this is the 9th of March now. in 2 days' time. And here's a really good look at the South Atlantic High, something we talked about on leg one. On leg one, you can see their tracks over here, and you'll remember they were going upwind a lot of that time, and that would make sense looking at the winds in this picture as well. So Rio is up in this area here. This is March 10th. You can see it's going to take quite a while to get up the coast. Here they're battling these headwinds again, always driven by the South Atlantic High. And now on March 14th, the progress is slow going. It's going to be rough sailing. They're bumping up and down because they're going into the waves. It's not super windy. It's 15, 18 knots of wind. Max gusts will be 20 knots. This is now March 15th, so more than a week from now. They'll still not be up here to Recife. And I have them getting up there in Recife on March 18th. So, and then now we're getting a glimpse of the doldrums here. This is the equator basically right through here. And the area known as the doldrums, they'll have to transit this, in about 2 weeks' time.
So that's a wrap on episode 21. We can see that it's going to be kind of slow going up to the corner of Brazil, Recife. They're dealing with the South Atlantic High, which means tacking and going upwind initially, and then eventually getting the winds going around to the right a little bit so they can fetch up the coast of Brazil and up to the equator. Then, of course, they'll have the pleasure of dealing with the doldrums again in about 2 weeks' time. So until then, let's remember, we all need to believe in humans.